You are listening to another AlwaysMoto production. The AlwaysMoto podcast with your host, David Hogan. We talk moto events from around the world. All the injuries, all the training ins and outs, the bikes, parts and gear inspections. The results, we interview your favorite riders. It's the AlwaysMoto podcast. We occasionally have some coarse language and the odd stuff up along the way. If you don't like it or you don't agree with us, turn it off right now.
I'd like to remind you that he is not a doctor.
That's right, Moto fans. This is episode 191 of the AlwaysMoto show, proudly presented by TechnicMotorsport.com, Duramoose.com.au and Yamaha Motor Australia. Welcome into the show. We've got another big show coming towards you tonight. We've got a couple of guests that are going to come on and talk about different aspects. We'll get to that in just a sec. But I'm your host, David Hogan. Welcome into the AlwaysMoto show. We're going to be joined by, and he's back again by popular demand, the AlwaysMoto contractor, Ben Grinly, here in just a second. But we're going to talk all things Appin this weekend because obviously it was the last round of the AusProMX. It was just done on the weekend, on Sunday, just gone. It's Tuesday. We're a couple of days after. We're going to talk about all the mud that was at Appin because there was a bit of it. And we're going to have a good show to catch up with Hayden Downie, the number 38 from the MX3 side of things. He's going to join us later on, just at about 8:05, our usual point where our special guests come on. And then later on at about 8:30, we're hopefully going to have the man behind the Suit Up for Supercross, Ryan Kohlenberg. He's trying to put together an event unlike any other that's been before us here in Supercross. To try and promote and help riders get to these events this year for the 2026 season that's up and coming. So he's going to come and talk about a little bit about his gala event that he's got going on. So we're pleased to have him come on at it'll be about 8:35. I think it'll be when we see Ryan pop into the show. So plenty to talk about tonight, but don't forget the fact that TechnicMotorsport.com is your place to go to for all your suspension needs. If you need A-kit suspension, if you just need some new seals and bushes because you've blown a seal out, maybe you need some new fork tubes, maybe you want some fork oil, shock oil, geez, and everything in between, springs. If you need a new spring, maybe you've put on some weight, maybe you've lost some weight. You might need some new springs. They've got it all, TechnicMotorsport.com. They've got their currency converter on their website, their shipping calculator as well. You can ship internationally with DHL. They ship daily. You can pretty much do anything you want and get it pretty damn much the next day, if not the day after that, with Technic Motorsport. So check out their site. Everything suspension, they've got it. All right. Don't forget our other show supporters. We've got Barkbuster hand guards on board. We've got Funnelweb filters on board, pivot pegs on board, Tech 167 3D printing. Saw the man behind that, Joel, working his way around the pits at Appin on the weekend. He's helping out. He's mechanicing for Nathan Crawford with that Moto Coach Honda team at the moment. But on the side, he does all his 3D printing stuff. Get yourself a funnel from him or one of the other many cool parts that he has there 3D printed. So check that out. From Joel. Now, don't forget, you can join the AlwaysMoto YouTube community. If you're watching this right now live, you should head over, join the community for a small, very small monthly fee. A couple of different tiers you can pick from. You can join the community and support the show because we need your support to keep this thing going. We can't get to these events without, support from you guys out there. So we can get you onto that community. It'd be awesome. While you're there, you can also join and get the top tier and you can get involved with a t-shirt, or you can just buy a t-shirt direct from us, info@alwaysmoto.com. These are $25 plus postage and handling, and we'll get you these shirts out. And that helps you support us to help bring you more and more stuff to listen to and watch, because we all want to know what's going on in the Australian motocross and supercross scene, as well as a bit about the AMA and the world stuff as well, because we cover that from time to time here as well. All right, it's enough with all this stuff. But if you want to find any of our sponsors, there's some discount codes that we'll talk about as well with those. They're all in the show notes or in the bio link on our social pages, so go and check that out. But enough with the intro talk. Let's bring in the contractor. Let's get to our general talk section, which is brought to you by Yamaha Motor Australia and the WR250F. Why don't you join the Blue Crew? Benny, how are we doing tonight, mate? Are you recovered? Are you home? Are you cleaned off from the mud from Appin?
I'm home. I'm recovered. I've cleaned off. Not so much my hat, people. Look at this mud here. I don't know if you can see
He's
it.
stained it all on the top there, mate. You got too close to the action.
The 250 boys coming back after their practice starts, flicking the mud everywhere, trying to get it off the bike. But yeah, we're home. Big weekend. Enjoyed it. And ready to talk about it.
Yeah, no, it was an awesome weekend. Obviously, bit of travel involved for you from the driving side of things, a little bit for myself. I'm not in Sydney anymore. I'm just up north of Newcastle, but Appin used to be basically my home track. It was the closest one to where I was living when I was previously down there in the Norellan area. So yeah, very familiar with the Appin circuit. Obviously done quite a few laps there myself. And unfortunately, the track prep and the weather situation looked all too familiar for me when I got there on Sunday morning. Saturday afternoon when we were leaving, Benny, track prep, I think the track looked amazing at that point. It was ripped and groomed. It was watered nicely, but not over watered. And then we did we did a couple of interviews, which you can check out on the YouTube channel for pre-race interviews. We didn't really have a press day here in Australia. If you're watching from international side of things and you're familiar with the AMA having like a press day on the Friday or the day before the racing, we don't necessarily have, I wouldn't really call it a press day, right, Benny? It's just everyone's there and you sort of can wander around, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yep. You just have a look. You get some bikes on track if you're lucky. If we've started when we're talking about Supercross, if track build started early enough, but not so much for ProMX.
Yeah, not for motocross so much. Maybe some rounds, yes, but not so much for this one. There was nothing officially organised. So we did some interviews. We're getting them together. And as I was driving out of the venue, we got to about the practice track because there's 2 tracks at this facility. And got to about that practice track and I thought, damn, I needed to stop and record a little intro piece to those 3 interviews because otherwise they just come straight in. There's no context as to where we are and what we're doing. So we pulled up, get out of the car. Jen, my wife, grabs the camera, sets up. I'm thinking about what I've got to say. And we're filming across the practice tracks to then see the tracks in the main track in the distance. And I look over my shoulder and the sprinklers are on, Benny. And they were on for quite a while from what I understand because the track was very wet when we got there in the morning. And correct me if I'm wrong, Benny, but it had sprinkled on the way into drive, but it hadn't rained at the venue yet when we got there at 7 a.m. for our media meeting. But shortly after is when it started raining. So the track was already wet and then it got wetter. And not that much wetter, I would say. It was more that it was just getting churned through, the sloppiness to it. But the fact of Appin being ripped and a clay track with water, that stuff tacks together like a massive big lump of Play-Doh and it just keeps adding to the clump and it never falls off. It's terrible. It's the stickiest stuff you've ever seen. If you've ever had shit stuck to a blanket, picture that. It's terrible, right?
I think I rocked up at about, would have been 10 to 7, I think I got there. And it was spitting because I come up from Wollongong. It was spitting a little bit on the way there. Probably, 8:30 was when it probably just started and probably didn't stop till, I'm not even sure. But
10-ish, something like that. It was a while, right? But it wasn't heavy. Like we're out taking photos around the edge of the track because we weren't allowed on track. That's another story. But we were on the edge of track and neither of us had a jacket on, right? At that point, like we didn't have a raincoat or anything. We were just walking around in our normal jumper and jeans. And you didn't really notice the rain. It was just sort of enough that you could see it and feel it, but it wasn't making your clothes damp or anything. But at some point I did go for the actual rain jacket, mainly to put the camera underneath to try and keep it dry because I managed to get water behind the viewfinder, which was fantastic. Thanks to Matt Boyd at Boyd's Moto Surgery for letting me try and get a screwdriver to undo it and try to dry it out. Didn't end up working, but it sorted out later in the day. I left it in the sun for a bit over lunch break when the sun finally did come out. But yeah, that little bit of water at that point just obviously kept it wetter. It never dried out at all. But man, those first sessions it must have started raining right, or at least starting to get wetter as those 65 kids went out for their first session, right? Because MX2 went out and looked terrible, but their 65s, oh man, it must have been a nightmare. Those kids must be having like, just that's in their dreams for the next week because it was an absolute crap fest for them.
Yeah, there's a few 65s that you hate to laugh, but we're stuck.
We've all been there, right?
and stuck for a while. There was one at the bottom hairpin, just leant against a tree because I don't think either wheels would have been moving. There was that much mud stuck between them. And I don't think I've seen, I think, the MX2 qualifying. I don't think I've seen so many people without goggles within 1 or 2 laps.
That's the thing with Appin, but like we're saying, when it's so clumpy and like goes like Play-Doh and sticks to you, it clogs the roll off. You can pull the roll off string as many times as you want. It slides across and jams into the receptacle and it won't pull anymore. And you just pull hard enough and then you break the film. And then, as I think I saw, it was Jack Devison at one point had the streamers flying because he just broke it,
Yeah. So I think I saw about 3 or 4 people throw them on that bottom hairpin. And I think in one of the interviews at the end of the day, one of the riders mentioned that it would have just been better if it rained more, so that the mud would have just rolled off instead of just sticking. So not ideal situation.
We want a runny soup. We don't want a sticky, fat, thick soup, right? You don't want the chunky Campbells. You want the tomato soup that just pours out of the can. I've got the analogies tonight, mate. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. So, it, like you said, it got better through the end of the day, like towards the end of the day. I definitely didn't expect to be changing into a t-shirt and shorts at lunchtime and standing up on top of the hill and sweating. But, we were, that happened. And sort of reminded me a bit of if anyone's been to Phillip Island, they'll know what I'm talking about. It's the exact same thing.
Yeah,
it's different. All those different seasons in only a matter of minutes.
Yeah, and then funnily enough, we thought we were going to get absolutely annihilated at the end of the day because the whole sky sort of started going purple, and it started getting really cold, and the wind started picking up again, and we're like, oh, this is not going to go good. But it somehow managed to, I don't know, avoid us, or at least wait long enough that the motos finished, and we it got cold and a little bit. You probably hear it in some of the interviews post race, but that we did. It was a little bit of a breeze at times, but it held off in the end. But it was looking real bad right at the end because we were going back for the jumpers and stuff, sort of thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I think I got 5 minutes, 10 minutes out of Appin, sort of up into the hill a bit more, and the rain kicked in, the fog kicked in. I couldn't see a thing. Everyone had their hazards on, just, all doing snail pace all the way back to Wollongong. It was just, so I'd say it was coming. It just didn't. Luckily, we got out of there.
We got lucky by the sounds of that at the end of the day there. So, yeah, because it definitely looked like it was going to be an absolute terrible ending, but we somehow managed to go past that. So, look, that part was okay. But I think it's been a massive point of contexture over these opening rounds has been the track preps at these events so far for the Motorcycling Australia side of things and the Pro Nationals. And obviously this one, I think, is going to get saved by the comments of the weather coming in, and they're going to say that, well, the rain and the humidity in the air kept the track moister than it was going to be, and that's why it was so potentially so bad for those 65 kids. I'm going to say if they don't water it excessively the night before, like the same comments I said at Toowoomba about doing it all in one night, if they spread this water out over a few days beforehand, the track will be moist and it'll go deeper, and the soil will all be the same consistent wetness deeper down. If it does rain, it's not so bad because you could have sealed it really sealed it on the Saturday night and tried to save it a bit more that way, knowing that the weather was coming all week. I think my weather report last week, Benny, I said it was going to drizzle on Sunday. It did drizzle on Sunday, right?
Yeah, it sure did. And I think for those that have, listened to our post-race interviews, they'll sort of know, but the comments from the riders were Saturday was perfect. Like Saturday would have been, ready for Sunday, would have been perfect if it had only been the rain. But that last lot of sprinkling just killed it.
Yeah, and I don't know why we go so far as to add so much extra water. Like, I know they don't want dust on TV coverage. I get that. But at some point, the event is about the racing and the riding. And if you can't ride the track well, or you are literally stuck slot car style in a corner and you can't change lines because it's so slimy and so deep on the ruts from the wet, conditions, we're not racing, we're surviving, and it's not interesting. So then the TV broadcast and the spectating is no good anyway. So you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. I don't know where to go with it. I think I would prefer to see them try and do this watering, like I said, 3 days, 4 days before. Put half the amount of water break it up. If you're going to put 1,000 liters, go 2.5, 2.5, 2.5. Split it across the thing so that you can spread it out, and hopefully, like I said, it goes deeper. It's more even. Hopefully, lasts longer too, and then you can maybe just hit. I don't understand why they can't bring the hose out at lunchtime, at the beginning of the lunchtime sessions they've got, and have a little, top up if needed. I thought that's what that lunch break was for, track maintenance, as well as having the cool catering that was going on. That was pretty cool seeing Yamaha truck, doing all the catering for all their local vendors, right? They're doing the right stuff in that having that break. Utilize it better.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what the problem is with having water on in the background of the coverage. I mean, you see it on pro motocross. There's someone there with a hose just wetting the track. The Premier League overseas, they have sprinklers on the soccer field all halftime so that it's wet when they go back out and play, so that they slide and whatever. You see that in the coverage. I don't understand why we're so worried about it. Going to an interview that was on Pulp the other day with one of the track organizers, maybe for Hangtown or whoever it was, they said that sometimes you can explain to someone how much water to put in one spot during that time and it gets too much because they don't really know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I could understand it from that point, but we're on our side, where they're coming from is they don't want watering to be seen in the coverage. I don't understand why. What does it matter?
Yeah, I don't get that either, eh? Like, we've all seen water before. It's not like it's you're gonna all of a sudden go, oh my God, what's that? Like, who cares? If it means that the track conditions are optimal versus what we had at Appin, then great. But yeah, how do we get here? How do we get the right people in the right places to make these decisions?
Yeah, and especially when you've got a few hours of coverage in the morning on Facebook. You've then got a few hours of coverage on the afternoon on SBS or Stan, whatever you choose to watch it on. Pretty much going to be the diehard fans. The diehard fans want good racing and not what they sort of had to deal with the last few times the tracks haven't been that great. So maybe, Kate, worry about what show you're putting on instead of what you're trying to hide,
Yeah, and like obviously I didn't get to see the Facebook Live in the morning. I've watched the highlights of those morning races and sessions because we were at track. It didn't look great, and the highlights were just people picking bikes up and covered in mud head to toe, which is basically what our photos were as well from the trackside. Like, you pretty much had to take photos from the back view to tell who it was, because you could see their jersey number. Otherwise, anything from head on, you had no idea who it was. Genuinely, you didn't know who it was in lots of cases. So, yeah, it's not ideal. And like we said, you're saying it too about the goggles being thrown, like those opening motos. Nobody had goggles on. That's not safe. We don't have that same regulation like MXGP does, where they've got a goggle lane and they can't circulate for more than whatever, a lap or two, whatever it is, before they get a new set of goggles. We should put something like that in place, because as much as like I said, it's just said about the clay mud just being a clump and being impossible to work with goggles, we still have eyesight to protect. And I think I'd rather them come in and have to deal with multiple goggle changes than having that clump hit in the eyeball,
Yeah, and I think it'll be a question for Hayden when he comes on, but he ran no goggles for a little bit in that first moto towards the end. So I'm interested to see, asking him how he actually coped with that because, at some point we've all had something, hit us in the eye when we've been riding, just unlucky at times. And, the track conditions that they had. So I'd be interested to see, just to ask him and see how he thought it was.
It's not good, that venue. I can speak on it from personal experience. If anyone remembers the first ever East Coast motocross series round that they ever held was at Appin, and it absolutely was horrid conditions and clumpy crap. And yeah, I'll have to find the photo of me from that round and post it on the socials and say, I know what you guys experienced because it's bad. And yeah, the goggles just don't work, but it's something that you got to deal with and get through. So yeah, it's not ideal, but it's where we're at. All right. Racing side of things, Benny. We're not going to get too far because Hayden's probably 10 minutes away, but let's talk through some of the racing and see how far we get to it. Let's start with MX1 because that is their premier class and probably the big boys, as they say. I think in the case of this one, there's two storylines here, main things. One is obviously the dominance of Jed Beaton on that CDR Monster Energy Yamaha. But then from what we found out and obviously knew coming in a little bit of, but then talking to Urive afterwards, it's the whole Kyle Webster situation. Not that he won, not that he came second or got beat by Jed Beaton, but the fact that he was able to ride through what he rode through in terms of these two injuries that he's dealing with from his Hangtown crash, which he was in the AMA last week, to be able to get through the day. And if you haven't seen our interview, I've got a snippet of it on our socials on YouTube and Instagram, but I've got the whole interview, which is nearly 10 minutes or thereabouts long with Urive, where he goes through a whole bunch of stuff. And it's a fantastic interview, right, Benny? But you need to check that out on the YouTube channel. But yeah, Kyle Webster, shoulder dislocated, torn groin, and still pulled pretty much 2 whole shots and was running up there and still ended up 4th overall. Pretty impressive day from Kyle Webster on a different sort of impressive.
Yeah, definitely not the ideal track conditions for him to have the shoulder problem. And then to go and do the groin, I think what they said in qualifying.
Well, yeah, Urive said that, but I'm not sure because I think it was there. Maybe he just tweaked it further in qualifying. Like, yeah, there's a little bit of miscommunication on when that one occurred, but yeah.
So that's not ideal at all. But yeah, to rip the whole shots like he did, and to get the finish that he did, just before you did the interview with Urive basically lifted him out of the mule. They brought him back to the truck and Urive basically lifted him out of the mule.
That's impressive in its own right? Like Urive is like this tall and he's picking this bloke out of the thing. I was like, that's pretty cool, Urive. Yeah.
And then, he could barely move at all. So, really good job.
Yeah.
And like I talked about in an interview, there was, he sort of talked about a plan that he didn't have to race, but he still did anyway. But yeah, a lot of other people probably would have just pulled the pin at that point.
Yeah, and look, much like his teammate earlier in the season, Cade Kingsford, riding right after having a collarbone surgery, these guys are in it for the fact of their commitment to Urive and to Honda and the rest of the team sponsors, but they're in it to try and stay in this championship as long as possibly they can. And by not missing this round, he just keeps that tiny bit of hope and that tiny bit of pressure on Jed Beaton because, as Urive said, anything can happen in moto. It can happen to anybody. You can get an injury at any time. So as much as Beaton has a very healthy lead, I think it's 51 points or thereabouts at the moment. He's got a healthy lead. He could go down anytime before that final moto. And if Kyle is close enough, well, he could still scratch this thing out in a pinch. So I guess the question is, but like we've got 4 weeks until Terralglon. Do any of these things from Webster's side of things, the shoulder, the groin, how bad are they? Do they need any surgery work? And is there enough time for him to be any better health-wise, either have surgery and get better and are good enough, or manage it through and be still better than he was this weekend in 4 weeks' time or not. I don't know how that's going to go, because we obviously don't know the severity of any of these things. The shoulder doesn't sound like it's too bad, right? Like he rode and it's more the groin that's been the issue. I don't know how he goes. 4 weeks isn't that long.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think depends on how bad it is and if he wants to do Supercross, I guess, as to whether they, get it fixed. Does he just push through ProMX and then get it done at the end of the season and then not worry about, going to Supercross, or do we get it fixed now and go to Supercross?
Well, and even in that same comment there, right? Like he said in something I read recently, he's contracted for Supercross, obviously, but Motocross of Nations is a very possible thing again for him this year. Does he? What's the aim at? There's too many questions to answer right now, because even just a normal groin strain, like if it's a low grade groin strain, is probably 4 to 6 weeks, because they're the more difficult strains to overcome, because you're always using that leg, in terms of walking and stepping out of a car and all those sorts of things. You're going to put pressure on it. It takes a little bit longer to get back to strength. So yeah, I don't know. It's super difficult. And if the shoulder's no good, maybe he's dislocated that shoulder before and it just went straight back in and nothing else is damaged and he's okay. There's too many questions for me right now. I need more info before I could say anything about it, right?
Yeah, that is right. But one thing I will say, sort of just going back to your Eve, the interview, everyone sort of stirs him up a bit, but that man wears his heart on his sleeve, and he was a really good interview, open about the Fink, what happened at Fink, open with what Kyle, congratulating the other teams at the podium, just, it really good, and appreciate his interview that he gave us, because it was really honest and open, and a lot of people aren't like that.
No, I think Yariv recognizes the input that the media can have, right? Like he understands the commercial value of giving content to not just the broadcast people, but to all the other media people that are there. Because whenever I've asked him, he's always just said, "Yeah, give me 5 minutes or 10 minutes and meet me here, and we'll do it." And exactly that. Like you were talking to him about the Fink efforts, and I just sort of rolled up and went, "What are you trying to get out of him?" And he sort of just started chatting to the two of us, like, because he was waiting for Kyle to come back from the podium, and I said, "Look, can we get you on interview?" And he goes, "Yeah, of course. Just let me see Kyle first." And we waited the 5 minutes. He did what he needed to do. He came over and he chatted to us. And I honestly thought he'd be 2-3 minutes tops and out. And I just kept throwing questions and he kept answering, right? It was super valuable for me, and I think super valuable for him and the sport.
Yeah, and I'd said to the boys, if you're in our group chat, you would know. But I said, after Corey Hammond had the chain snap and the flat tire and whatever else, I said, I'll ask Eve next weekend and see what he said. And he was quite honest. He didn't have to answer me at all. He didn't have to answer my question. He didn't have to talk to me. Nothing. So yeah, for me, like, I appreciate that. And yeah, it's just good to get that information out, and him to be so open.
Yeah, and he obviously made sure that he covered all of his team members in that as well with the update, not just Kyle, not just the MX2 guys. He went through with Heath Fisher as well. So, yeah, the man, that it's like a family for him. That Honda truck, it's his family, it's his life. Yeah, it was an awesome interview to have. So yeah, check it out if you haven't already. It's well worth it. So yeah. Other results, Benny. Obviously, we mentioned Beaton winning. Webster's gotten fourth. Let's go in the middle there. Aaron Tanti was really good this weekend, right? Couple of good starts, had some good pace. Basically, him and his teammate there, Jed Beaton, they left the pack for a good gap, but Tanti was keeping him honest.
Yeah, I think it was really good from Tanti. He hasn't had, I think I talked about it last week or the week before, he hasn't had a lot of success lately for injuries and stuff like that, and he sort of just needed to put a good season together. And that was, yeah, like you said, good starts, good rides, and yeah, I think truly deserved the the overall that he got.
Yeah, it was good to see him up there. He is probably a little familiar with it, obviously being from New South Wales originally, so he would be familiar with Appin, but maybe his conditions probably aren't his more favoured in terms of the muddy, rutted conditions. But good to see him getting back to the form of being the former pro national champ that he is from a few years back. He's probably looking good for a solid Supercross if all goes well if he keeps going up with his form. Let's touch on one more, and that'll cover us off quickly for MX1, because we did just get the doorbell that I think Hayden Downie is about to join us. So Nathan Crawford, third on the overall there, looking good on that Moto Coach Elite Honda team there. Obviously, we mentioned in all the stuff we did pre and post race there, they had the Gotcha for Life thing going on as well, so supporting that and the donations for that. But yeah, Nathan Crawford, not as good a ride as Toowoomba, but still solid there, third overall. But he was a little bit back from those front two guys this weekend.
Yeah, just a little bit. But I think, he'll take that, especially in those conditions. But it's, I think the change to the Honda has paid off. There's a very big difference team-wise. KTM have a big truck, and the Moto Coach guys are out of, a little trailer, as we saw. And
compared to that Honda truck they're parked behind, they're like a matchbox car, right?
Yeah, you could fit their trailer in the Honda truck.
Yep.
I did see, just him having a laugh with the mechanics, Joel, like as you said, just the vibe around there, even though it's small, seemed really good. So I think, it's obviously done a lot for him, and the results as well will be helping that, probably that mental side of it that he may have been struggling with the KDM, and that was what ended it. So I think he'll take it.
Yeah, no, I think he will. So, no, very good story there. Let's get to our guest. I'm going to let him join in. So it's Hayden Downie, the number 38 from the MX3 side of things. We're going to admit, and we'll just close that off, and we'll get him in here, and we're going to get the screen to the right one. Host and two guests. Hayden, how we doing, mate? I've just got to make some adjustments here because, as per usual, it's gone too far one side. There we go. There we are. Nice and work. How we doing, Hayden?
Not too bad. How are you?
Yeah, very good, mate. So Ben's on the line with us here. He's the contractor, as we say. You might have seen him walking around the pits on the weekend. We never found you in the pits, unfortunately, because we just seemed to get stopped every which way before we were in between taking photos. And unfortunately, didn't get to actually say hi in person, but your results were fantastic. Well, good on the weekend, let's say. Compared to what you did last weekend, that was the weekend before. That was fantastic, right?
Yeah, it was pretty fantastic. I'm still happy as well.
You should be, man. That was, I think we said, Benny, that was like an announcement day, right?
Yeah, pretty much. It makes you sort of go 1-1, and then people actually, take notice and go, oh, who's this? So then they take notice at the next round. So it's really good.
Yeah.
So how does that ride, from Toowoomba and then to this one here, how does that come about? Because I looked through the results from the start of the season, and we've gone 8th at Wonthaggi. These are overalls. 8th at Wonthaggi, 4th at Canberra, 14th at Gilman, and then we go 1-1 at Toowoomba.
Yeah, I just halfway through the year, I changed bikes. Like, I just felt so much more comfy on this new bike with everything I have on it. And then since Toowoomba, it's just like my confidence, everything's just gone up through the roof, which is, I'm happy with it. Everything's working well. Suspension's perfect, everything. So I'm just happy with this bike.
So when you say change, ignore my ignorance here, but like, did we change brands? Did we just change suspension companies? What have we done there for that change?
Nah, so I was at the start of the year originally with XLR.
Okay.
And then after Gilman, we sort of parted our ways. So
Yep.
It was nothing to do with any bad wording, nothing. I just didn't feel right on the bike. So I just moved, and me and my dad are just doing ourselves now. So we're just doing everything ourselves, just chipping away one by one each week, day by day, just coach and everything. But I was on Yamaha since the start of the year, so we just changed things, a couple bit of things here and there, and ever since Toowoomba, I've been happy.
Must be a pretty reassuring thing to know that the change you made was worth doing, right? Like obviously it's kicked straight in, but straight away from Gilman to Toowoomba, and then again like at Appin, that Moto 2 ride to steal it away at the end there, pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was. As soon as I got that start, I was just like, I've just got to go for it.
Benny, the first moto wasn't so good for him, but right, he down a bit at the start. I think he was stuck out there on the track at one point, or at least having a moment.
Yeah, I come around one of the corner and there was that much mud. It was so clumpy, like it was literally that sticky. Like my helmet was that heavy at the end of the race.
Yeah, well, I think I had you at. When I watched it back today, you were 12th at one point. And then I think you got back to 6th or whatever. But how long were we running with no goggles? Because I noticed they were hanging on the handlebars. How long did we have them there for?
Oh, the whole motor. I took them off second lap. So after the mechanics area, it just clogged up in my goggles, and I was just like, I've got to take these off. I couldn't see anything, so I took them off on the straight, and for the rest of the motor, I had no goggles.
How was that?
I'm not gonna lie, it hurt really much. My eyes were getting flung with roost everywhere, like they were red at the end. But it got better through the day.
So what's because a lot of people, especially in the qualifying for the MX2 in the morning, a lot of people were throwing their goggles. What's the decision to keep them on hanging on the bars instead of just throwing them?
I'm going to answer that. I bet you he paid for his own goggles, right?
I feel like it'd be pretty annoying having them hanging there, but yeah, a lot of people just throw them. But yeah, for you to keep them on there, I was a bit surprised.
Yeah, I literally just took them off, chuck them on my bar, and I was just trying to make more positions to get up the front, and then I didn't notice until I was coming around one of the corners and my bar was just locked one way, and I looked down and my goggles are still there, so I was like, oh shit, I forgot to throw them. And as soon as I came around the mechanics area, I threw them and I kept going.
So you tried to nail your dad with them? I gather your dad's in the mechanics area. You tried to nail him with the goggles so he could wash them up and use them later or something, right?
Nah, Dad's not in the mechanics area. I got a mechanic, Zach alone. So he's a mechanic. So he's there, and I was just rode past, try to freaking aim at someone so they catch him.
To just all these mechanics like shit, goggles flying through. Oh, that's funny. But yeah, I bet you didn't chuck them out in the middle of the track so you couldn't lose them, right? Because you probably can't afford to do that at this point.
No, I used them next race. I changed them, cleaned them all up, used them next race.
Love it. Privateer life. Just got to make it work. Yep. So was it just the fact like that? I said before you got on here, we're talking about the conditions and stuff, and like Appin used to be a home track for me because I used to live down there, and it's so clumpy and sticky that it just would jam into the side of the roll off, and it just basically wouldn't pull anymore. I gather that's what the case was again.
Yeah, it was. It just literally there was that much mud when we took the roll off film out. It was like just coated.
Yeah. It's such at that point where it had rained a bit, but not enough. It's just clumpy stuff down there. It's horrid.
Yeah.
You do. Kate Kingsford, I think, was saying it after Moto 1. He said he would prefer just to keep raining and rain harder at that point. So it would be a bit thinner and hopefully just a sloppy mess. So yeah, it's awkward conditions down there. That's for sure. But talking about conditions and stuff. Now, I thought that maybe the 14th at Gilman was like a surface related thing. It sounds like it's a bike related sort of setup and comfort thing. So with 3 rounds to go in this series, we've got Terraugalon coming up. We've got Conondale and QMP. Now, I believe you're a Southeast Queensland sort of guy. Conondale and QMP you're probably familiar with. How about Terraugalon? Are we okay with it? What are we hoping to do there in 4 weeks' time?
I've only ridden that track for practice and a 1 lap of Moto 1 because I had bad bike problems last year. But
awesome. So we don't know nothing about it, basically.
Not really. Not really at all. I did a couple of laps. Like the track was sick. It was muddy that year, but the track was good. I loved it. I just loved how most of the corners were just sand and you can just hold them wide open.
Okay.
But like I'm excited to go to Traralgon this week, well, in 4 weekends time, and then hopefully put it on the box again. Like, I just want to go out and ride my bike now.
The guy sounds happy, Benny.
Yeah. Hey, it's a good thing, like you said, confidence after that. The last 2 race weekends is obviously very high. When now will you ride again? Like, what's your practice routine, and what are you doing through the week to get stay on the bike and whatnot?
Yeah, well, I train 3 days a week, so I train Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and then the rest of the days I do gym.
Is that around a work schedule, a school schedule, a chafe schedule? What do you got going on outside of the training
No,
and riding life?
I don't work. I don't work as much. Like go to a farm just down the road, a good friend of ours, and I just do a bit there. They have a track there that I just rip, ride, just do laps continuously. And I do a bit of work there, but not a lot. But mum and dad have pretty much said, look, you got this last year to prove yourself. You're not working. They've helped me so much. So it's like I just drive to gym, work, go to the track, ride, rip it again, ready for the next day. And then plus training through the week as well.
How old are you, Hayden?
I'm 18.
Hey, all right. Yep. I figured you must be close on that window there. Obviously, MX3 side of things. So this is what, last go round for MX3?
Yeah, this is the last couple of rounds, and then I'm into MX2.
Yeah. So are you still eligible for SX3 for Supercross then later in the year, or do you have to go up to then?
No, I'm still MX3 for Supercross.
Nice. Okay. All right. Benny, he's making an effort here. Obviously, what he's doing, mum and dad will probably be like, damn, he's probably not going to have a job next year either in terms of like a real job.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if you put the effort in, and it's the last year, hopefully towards the end of the year, some people will come and, maybe ask some questions.
Yeah, hopefully they do, because I'd be so excited to just jump on a team and just ride for them.
So with that in mind, I was looking at the Supercross results because obviously that's coming up here in just over a couple of months. You didn't get all the season in last year. Was there an injury before or during round 4? Because you got the first 3 rounds in.
Yeah, I got Redcliffe and Cronulla, and then heading into Melbourne during the main, I had a massive crash. I was knocked out for a good couple of minutes, and then I thought I did something internally, and we went to the hospital. I was all good, but they just said not to ride, so I just had the rest of the year off.
Yep.
Got better following into this year.
I think I recall that now that you've said that about that Melbourne round, but it doesn't stand out before that point. But yeah, but you did have a podium at round 2, if I'm not mistaken, at Redcliffe. So there's some Supercross skills there. You just didn't get much chance to show it. So this year is, I think your parents are onto something. This is a big year for you, right?
Yeah, it is a big year.
Is there a beefed up Supercross schedule coming now that this is the last year? You've upped the ante in outdoors. Are we doing a bit more in the when Supercross time comes?
Yeah, I will be doing a lot more Supercross riding this year. I'll tell you that. Last year I only had probably 1 to 2 days each week because I was working with Dad last year, and I was only riding maximum 2 days a week. I'll just work, ride, and then I was happy that I got third, but it's just like I wanted to ride more.
So do you have much like Supercross tracks nearby that you can get to easy enough? Like, I don't know exactly where you are, but like, is that something that's close handy for you, or you're going to have to maybe relocate for a little bit of this period coming up?
Oh, there is a couple of Supercross tracks around that are not too far, but there is a couple other Supercross tracks I want to go to that are pretty far away, but I don't think Mum and Dad will be happy with me if I go.
He's got to get permission still, Benny. He's at that point. He hasn't quite left the nest yet.
I think the person paying the bills has got a fair excuse to be the decision maker.
Yeah, they do.
No, that's cool. So what else in terms of Hayden Downie's life, mate? Like, you're obviously focused on the motocross side of things, but Is there any other interests out there that you do? Like, you know, going to the gym doesn't really count at this point because it's part of the gig. But what else is there? What else is interesting in Hayden Downie's life outside of moto?
Oh, riding electric bikes. I got a Talaria. I do a bit of golfing here and there.
Of
with
course he
fishing as
does. Of
well.
course he golfs.
Yeah,
It's always golf.
yeah, it is. Golfing's fun. It's hard. It's frustrating some days. There's some days I just want to throw the club around, but it's just like you just gotta be patient.
So have you got a handicap or something then? Have we got to ask that question, or do you just play for fun at this point?
I just play for fun.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Who do you go playing with? You got anyone regular?
No, I just go play by myself. I
Oh.
mainly go to the driving range.
Yep.
And just whack as hard as I can as at a ball. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it goes left or right. It's gonna get caught by the nets anyway.
Yes, that's where the frustration comes out. The driving range.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Well, so couple of weeks off, just training. Anything you're doing bike wise to get ready for the next round in Triathlon? Like, or are you just literally leaving it exactly as is in terms of setup?
We're just gonna leave exactly it is. I'm comfortable on the bike. We're probably gonna soften the suspension up just a little bit because the track's obviously sand a bit.
Mhm.
So we're just gonna soften the suspension up just a little bit, but we're just keeping everything the same.
You just clean it and repeat, right?
Yeah, literally just copy and paste.
Benny,
So
you got something? Yeah, go.
Yeah. So in that last moto on Sunday, obviously I think there's about 5 minutes left and you're probably about 3 seconds back. And to me, just watching on TV, you were probably a bit quicker in that last sort of section coming down that over the last tabletop in past the mechanics area and then over the start line.
Yeah.
Could you have gone and made your pass sooner? Could you see the lines he was taking compared to yours, or did you sort of just wait and knew that you could get it pretty much the last 2 laps?
I was just trying to play a safe game as well because it's like I didn't want to push and crash. So it's like I knew the lines he was taking, so I just backed it up a little bit and just hit my mark every single lap. Just got a good flow, and then I started catching him. And on the pit board, it was like 2 minutes to go, and I was like, I've got to put the hammer down now. So I put the hammer down for a good 2 laps, and it was last lap. And then he went outside, and I just went inside, got him, and then I just stayed on my exact same lines. I took a couple of his lines because they were faster, and I knew he was going to take them, so I took them. So I obviously couldn't get past.
Yeah, and I think he missed the step up as well, which helped you a bit on top of the hill. So that gave you a bit more breathing room.
Yeah, it did.
So calculated effort there to get to that end point and take the lead. It's pretty good for a young guy. But like, do you have a massive high when you come off the track there that you pulled off something like that? Because like a last lap pass, I assume the adrenaline's pumping at that point. Like I did see you were standing there at the podium trying to get some shots of you. You did have a big grin on the face. I assume you were pretty like pumped up at that point for understanding what you just pulled off.
I was excited. Like that last lap, there was that much adrenaline going on. I was just trying to keep my body calm just because I was just like, I was that excited and I didn't want to rush anything and crash. And as soon as I got off the track, like it just all hit me at once. I was just like so happy.
Did you come through a lot in those last, probably 5 minutes? Was there a lot of lappers? Like were they getting out of the way at least, or did you get stuck a little bit?
Oh, there was that many lappers. Like a couple of them will move, but like the rest of them wouldn't. They would just sit there, look at the blue flag, and just stay in the same line. Like not even try and move out of the way. And then they'll try and race you in front of you, and then they'll let you go, and then try and get in behind you and race you again. You just like it was actually getting a couple of the moves I made were like it was pretty dangerous how the lappers were.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mud races are always bad for that, right? Because there's limited lines and obviously you catch more of them at different points. And some of them are actually, got decent speed, but they went down early in the race or something and it all ends up jumbled. So it is a weird a weird day in that sense. But yeah, you got it done. So I think we just, you know, you got to be happy with that aspect of it. It all worked out for the better. But yeah, you're fifth in the championship now, mate. I gather you're going to try and climb into this one. You're a few points back in terms of like, you know, title race, but I guess the thing is in this class, because it's been so weird in terms of the results so far this year, anything can happen. You know, we've had 5 different overall winners. You're in with a shot, I guess, at this, you know, from this point on, if you keep riding the way you're riding.
Yeah. Well, my goal was at the start of the year to obviously be top 5 in that championship, but now I'm top 5. So I was like, my goal from there
Got to
on is
push
to
it
be
up a
in that
bit.
top 3. Got to push it up.
Mate, the way you're riding, yeah, I think you should be aiming up at that top step, if not, you know, at least the podium sort of thing for the rest of these things. So, yeah, it's impressive the way you've come on. And yeah, just super. I think that last moto ride is what sort of made me stand out and you know, say, hey, we need to talk to this kid because I don't know much about you. And yeah, it was really awesome. So, yeah.
So apart from mum and dad, what sponsors have we got? Have you got any sponsors? I noticed that I forget what it's called. I did look before, but your gear's different. I haven't heard of it before. Are they helping you, or who else have you got that throwing in and helping you out a bit?
I have a lot. Yamaha Moto Australia is helping me a lot this year as well. Custom MX. Underclasses the gear. He's been helping me so much as well. Just telling me you got to wear this, got to wear that, which is so good because it's like normally I would just get handed gear and I'll just wear whatever, but it's like now I've got to wear this and this gear, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I will say, I'll cut you off there for a second. Your blue kit that you got the photo of on the thumbnail for this episode, it's a sweet looking kit.
Yeah, I love that gear. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was good colorways. But yeah, anyone else still helping you then too?
I got a couple other people, just a couple of sponsors. The Fiberglass Pool Company, they've helped me out. They've chipped in a bit of money as well. I've got a couple other little sponsors that have been helping me as well. So I've just been thankful for everyone that's been helping me.
Nice little privateer effort, Benny, going on here, and he's putting it all to work, which is awesome. You got anything else, Benny, or are we going to wrap it up with Hayden for the evening?
No, I think that's it. Yeah, it's been good. The sponsors they'll be happy because they'll be getting some airtime, and there's some results coming. So maybe a few Guernseys to go out to them that to hang up in their shops. But yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
No, well, Hayden, mate, appreciate you making some time for us tonight on the show. But super impressed with the rides that you've had these last couple of rounds. Hopefully, we can witness a few more of them over the last 3 and see where you can get to in this championship for the MX3 class. But yeah, well done on the 3rd overall at Appin, and we'll talk to you again soon, man.
Thank you so much for having me here as well.
No, anytime, mate. You're welcome anytime. So yeah, we'll get you back again, I'm sure, at some point during Supercross or something, and yeah, we'll check in then. Thanks for being on, mate.
All good. Thank you.
See you, mate.
See ya.
All right, Benny, we're going to jump straight across because the other man that's going to join us is here already. Let's do it. Oh, this will be interesting.
I've got questions for this bloke.
Oh, we've all got questions for this bloke.
I've got questions for this bloke.
Hold on. He's come in with a camera, then he's disappeared. He's on mute. Can he get it sorted out? I don't know. It is the man. Oh, look out. He's in a spaceship. What the hell is going on here? Ryan Kohlenberg's joined us from outer space.
Now I've definitely got questions for this bloke.
The ratings are going to go up. He's doing Star Trekky crap and whatnot. We're going to cover it all here. Ryan Kohlenberg, what do we got going on, mate? Why have we got you on the call tonight?
Good evening, friends. I'm just jumping on to that. I just got my phone here reading some notes, so it's all factual. But so Arwen Motorsports has been around for probably 3 years now, and then last year we held a gala night. I held that personally for myself to raise funds for my little Supercross career I had going on for a couple of years there. I guess probably the initial purpose and reason behind trying to do events like this is I wouldn't say it's unfortunate or whatever. It'd be good to know about our Supercross rounds a year out so we can fit into these suppliers' budgets, etc., to make our budgets easier to go racing. Unfortunately, I think today was our last round of Supercross was only announced today, and we're about 3 months out from round one. So it's very, very hard to slot into financial budgets from the bigger corporates at such late notice. So holding a trivia night can bring money in on the night at any point of the year, and you raise it from the public and etc. And then this year, where I won't be racing this year, I don't know if that's an official status or whatever, but unfortunately, I don't know. I don't really have it in me to hustle another season of budget. But yeah, this year we're holding Suited Up for Supercross 2026 is the main title. It's a gala night designed to bring a spotlight to people in my position where we're trying to raise money, bring awareness to other like our industry sponsors, and give the people something to post on their socials to give it that professional image. I think it's something that's been lacked for a while, but it's not a negative thing. It's just a step forward for everybody. So I'll just read it's like a little passage. It's on the try booking app that we've got. So you see it here. But it says about be a part of history at Australia's first ever Supercross Gala, an unforgettable celebration of the people, the passion and the future of the sport. For decades, Australian Supercross has filled stadiums and inspired generations of riders, teams and fans, yet there's never been a night dedicated to celebrating the people behind the sport. Suited Up for Supercross is Australia's first ever Supercross Gala, an exclusive black tie event bringing together riders, teams, industry leaders, sponsors, supporters and families for an unforgettable evening of connection, recognition and celebration. Join us as we honour the passion, commitment and community that continues to drive Australian Supercross forward while helping support the next generation of talent. So yeah, that's a little overview and summary without any notes written down.
So it's a pretty ambitious event you've got going on here, Ryan, coming up with this Suit Up for Supercross. But yeah, you're trying to sell some tables, you're trying to get some people into the venue to support it, obviously, is the main reason for coming on tonight. How are they getting to that? It's r1motorsport.com.au, isn't it?
Yeah, so I do have the link up in my Instagram bio currently. So the link is www.r1motorsports.com.au. So that's the website. And then when you go on the website, there's probably a few too many touch points currently, but it is exclusive. So it's hard to put all the links public. So yeah, you go on the website, register your interest. That way we're able to manage who's coming in and et cetera. Like just to stay on top of it. There's no real exact reason. And then it will funnel you to the try booking ticket website. And then so today I just had a meeting with my team, with Melu and Lily, and we discussed about the ticket prices and booking. So we've just updated it. So it was $2,400 for a table of 8. And we've rearranged the venue. So now it's $2,400 for a table of 10. And we just went live with single tickets at $260 a ticket for a single ticket.
Nice.
And then that way, the original purpose behind it was to give opportunity to teams and other businesses that were had several employees, and they were able to give them a night out sort of thing. I don't know how to summarize that real quick, but yeah, something like that. And then we've spoken to a lot of people, and a lot of people really want to just purchase 2 tickets or 3 tickets.
Yeah.
So we just made that option available now. So
yeah, nice. But so they'll be able to, come have a dinner, join a table of, a couple of other single sort of ticket purchases or couple purchases and have a good night out. But I think the main part of this is you're going to get everybody dressed up, right? That's why it's suited up for Supercross. So everybody's got to have the tux on or whatever, or the women have got to get the nice ball gowns out as such.
Yeah, that's right. And that was a huge purpose behind this drive as well. Like, you know, a lot of riders have good relationships with their girlfriends, and the families put a lot of work in as well. And it's very hard because even like for myself to take my girlfriend to 5 locations, we're there for 48 hours. It's a lot of like, it's pretty gnarly. It's not just me that needs time off full-time employment to go and do it, like the family and everybody that supports you. So having an event like this, you know, I hope it just takes a little bit of the weight off, and it's something rewarding for everybody doing that. And it's a very weird situation because I don't believe I should be hosting a gala. I think that you know, it should be part of the series, but it's probably like that's probably a hard comment to make. But I definitely I think from my own research, I had a look. The ABN's been up for 10 years for the industry, and I've spoken to people that have been in Supercross, that Paul that we chatted about,
Mhm.
30 plus years. There's never been anything like it. My friend Brownie as well, like very transparent with his experience, and yeah, really just excited to just do something. Just not really too much more to it than that.
No,
But
look, I think the message main part that you're getting across, man, is that you're doing something unique, you're doing something cool, you're doing something that people are going to remember because it's so completely different from the rest of this type of events they'll go to throughout the year from a moto side of things. They're going to be able to get dressed up, they're going to be able to support the sport at the same time, they're going to be able to network,
yeah,
and they're going to have a good time. So I think you're covering
yeah.
all the bases. You just got to, plug the website, r1motorsport.com.au, and get people to buy a ticket, right?
Yeah, even like just my personal Instagram page and the Arwen Motorsports Instagram page. But yeah, just like to touch on it as well. So on the try booking website, just reading off it. So it says secure a table of 10, enjoy an unforgettable night celebrating Australian Supercross, including entry, food, beverages, and entertainment for 10 guests. So on the night, I've actually gone like all out. Like you couldn't build a night bigger than what we're doing. I'm currently pretty close to $70,000 invested in it out of my own money. So it's like it's red carpet. There's bikes on display. I went for the buffet style dinner instead of 3-course meal, and I purely just done that so people can mingle and get up a little bit, like talk, like bump into people,
Move
instead
around
of
the room
sitting.
more, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like because like I'm a huge network guy, and I think it's super important to randomly bump into people and have that conversation, like how you going, what's going on, just very, it's very easy. And so yeah, there'll be a buffet dinner. I think there's canapes, full drinks package. There's the 5 hours of entertainment. I think there's acoustic uh as you enter the venue. It is a 5-star venue at the Sofitel Broad Beach, number 81 Surf Parade, as well. So it's 5-star venue, 5-star service. The AV partners are top tier. I think there's a 12-meter LED board. Like it's one of the biggest you can get. Like it's as good as it gets. I need to explain it a bit better on my socials. There's been a few comments suggesting that a lot of my posts are just AI, which is very true because it's very hard to get content
Well,
from something
it's
that
not like
hasn't
you're putting up that you're in space or anything.
I'm an AI guy now.
Use it to your advantage, right?
Yeah, so we just really at the minute, like the AI photos simply is just something to generate real quick. It's not misleading. It's not false information. It is from the dirt bikes to the suit, and it doesn't get much clearer than that. So very proud to be behind it, and I have an amazing team and everybody. Like I haven't had any negative feedback, so it's made it very simple to stay efficient as well. So it's good.
No, it's nice, and I think the one part you probably haven't touched on just yet is the timing of the event. But you've lined this up pretty good between the Queensland rounds, like you mentioned that you're at the Sofitel there, up in Queensland. But you're lining this up between the last couple of pro national rounds there in Conedale and QMP. So what was the date again? It's the
It's the 28th of July, and it's a Tuesday evening after Conondale, and it's the Tuesday before QMP. So, yeah, I did do a post, and I mentioned that it may seem like a really random time and location for an event like it, but it's really relevant to the industry. All the riders should be pretty present. The teams will be there. It's definitely a night not to miss. And over the next couple of days, the next week, looking forward to pushing a lot more socials on it and and just getting a lot more info out as it is. Uh, it's been a lot of work in a short time, but yeah, very very excited to just keep the ball rolling, and there's no doubts at all. Very very confident with it. So I think it's cool. It's just something different, and I vaguely went off track a little bit, but yeah, we hosting the gala, uh, trying to bring different sponsors in. I've reached out to a number of companies and we'll bring funding into it, but it's simply like a lot of the funding will go to covering the cost of it. As I said, I'm about 70,000 out of my own pocket into it. So yeah, looking forward to just seeing what happens. It's hard to on the night we'll be able to address it a lot more clearer, but it's very hard because we don't really know what money's coming in or like just to be very clear with that. So
Yeah.
we have targets and stuff, which is awesome, but it all can vary real quick. So just working with it, and my dad just told me make sure the money goes to the right places. So it's just keep it very simple and do what we got to do. So very
Yeah.
happy.
No, look, it's a fantastic initiative that you're putting together for the sport and for everybody who attends it. I'm sure they'll be impressed by it. Benny, do you own a suit, mate? Do you know how to do up a tux, and a tie or a bow tie?
No, mate, I got no idea.
Okay. Well, you
I've
got
got a
how?
suit.
What did we work out? You got like 6 weeks or something to work this out.
Yeah, I've got one that probably doesn't fit anymore, but I think it's good. It's definitely I guess, Ryan, you've always sort of been out there in a way doing your own thing with the flip sunnies in Newcastle in 23 to what you've done now. So I think it's really good.
Yeah, it's a good feeling. Like I've never come out trying to be someone I'm not, and I'm not trying to break world records. Just simply just a kid that likes dirt bikes, and um, very lucky to have my dad had civil company, so I was able to build whatever track I wanted when I wanted, and I was able to share that with everybody as well over the years. So no regrets, and very excited to just see what happens. I want to stay involved in the sport. Like I said, I'm not racing this year. Just simply can't be bothered getting hurt again. Like
You've hit that point by the sound of it. The injury thing is more of a concern than not. So yeah, it's time to not do it. So
yeah, life's pretty good at the moment. So it's just looking forward to staying fit and healthy, and I hope everyone else stays fit and healthy too. And if we can do something to attract the right people, do have a few people lined up to pull the trigger on, but like with corporate, but just waiting to see how the community and the industry reacts first. So
yeah.
I think it'll be a very adventurous next 5 weeks.
Well, I'm sure the wags of the sport will be perking up for a chance to put on a decent outfit and take their partner out to the red carpet, because they'll be into it. So they'll be probably pushing to get tickets and stuff bought. So look, it's a great thing because it's going to be more than just about the riders. It's going to be about everybody that attends. So yeah, look, I think you're biting off a lot, but you're chewing. So we're just going to give you the chance to get the tickets sold. So yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate the time this evening, and it's good to recognize this as a positive movement. And I don't know, I keep it so simple. I just look at like 4 sports: there's Formula One, V8 supercars, NRL, AFL, soccer. They all hold in red carpet gala nights. We really should have jumped on this a lot sooner. The night that Lewis Hamilton couldn't make the Met Gala and Jet Lawrence filled in, and Jet Lawrence is a Supercross guy, and it's like, to me, my brain was crazy that nobody was typing something like while it was there, and I don't think it's ever too late, but I think sooner the better, and just let it rip and put Supercross on the map. I think the athletes are very talented and the families are very supportive, like very unique to do this sport. It's not easy at all, and I don't think it should go unnoticed. But yeah, one small step at a time and one giant leap for mankind, right?
I love how he filled that in at the end. He linked it all together in one smooth motion.
Yeah,
Nice work.
yeah.
That's why he's putting this event together, right?
Yeah.
I think we got the skills to do stuff around here. So yeah, I'm excited.
So we're saying that it's probably before it's probably not you who should be holding the gala, alluding to, maybe
Yeah.
like organizers. Have you had anyone reach out to you from either series or someone that you just didn't think may ever reach out? Have you had any contact from anyone?
Well, the main surprise was like people have gone to seen my Instagram posts and gone to my website and submitted like the submissions so I can see who's doing what, and like it was cool to more or less get this lad Paul. I'm not sure, I can't remember his last name, but he is like I guess title would be historian of Supercross, and it was cool. He told me he'd been through every magazine. He has unseen photos from like the early 80s, late 70s of Supercross, and to bring them people to the surface. I think this is going to be a pretty cool little adventure. When I said I shouldn't be doing it, it wasn't like a negative comment. I'm proud to be able to be like leading it. I think I'm a good person for it. And like, I'm just excited, but like, hindsight's amazing. Like shoulda, woulda, coulda, but didn't, or, pointing the finger like this, like the way I look at it, to just keep it real simple, is like without MA, the governing body, the AME wouldn't be able to get insured to hold these events. And then without AME holding these events, I wouldn't be able to be in the position I'm in today, like as an athlete, as a founder for this. So I'm very grateful for everybody for sure. And I think that, this event for me has been pretty gnarly. Like it's a big expense and big risk because it hasn't been done. But to not be a part of the industry leaders is very, I wouldn't even say risky, but it's going to be hard work, a lot harder than it could be, which is fine. If it was easy, everyone would do it. So it's obviously not that easy. But there's no negative fingers getting pointing anywhere. I think it'd be awesome, to like collaborate and work together with the industry. But there's not really any right or wrong at the moment. It's just is what it is, and we'll just chew what we've bitten off, I guess, or do what we got to do. So
nice. Yep. So anything else we need to cover for this one, other than we got the date, so 28th of July. We've got the you can buy tables or you can buy individual tickets. You need to go to r1motorsport.com.au to register and buy those tickets. It's a red carpet affair. You need a tux. We got it covered, right?
Yeah, and black tie, tuxedo, whatever. Like it might seem a bit over the top, but like I said, like we're the only professional industry not doing it, and I think we have to do it and have to get content, and we have to start posting it to legitimize being professional. Like it's all well and good to hold, epic events and do epic stuff, but it's very hard to approach corporate when you're like, yeah, I ride, yeah, I don't get paid, can I have 50 grand? Like my budget, 150 to 200 grand a year. But a lot of people say that's ridiculous, but not when you're paying $30,000 for a 2DF that you cartwheel twice a week and you need 3 of them. Like it's just part of fucking learning some limits. And and it adds up real quick. And then you throw in, you're a physio yourself. Like I do a few physio sessions twice a week, 110 a session. Like me and my mechanic got to eat. We're on the road, a lot of diesel. Like to ride full time doing it. Like, and you lose 60 grand salary at your job. I have a mortgage personally. It's 40 grand a year. Like you're throwing 20, 30 grand around pretty easy. And to do it properly and stay healthy and fit, but like to go and approach like companies for like what you might get $1,000 or $2,000, it all adds up. But you got to go and secure 100 companies at $2,000. So it's like it's very hard to
Yeah.
very hard
Event like this gives some legitimacy to the sport as well. So, but it also gives them a chance to go and talk to somebody else. They might be able to go and talk to a clothing designer company and get a deal on an outfit for the evening and promote them that way too. So there's other ways that everyone's going to have to learn to utilize and maximize these sorts of events, right?
J Marmont used to be sponsored by Tramps the Store, so maybe we can hit them up, see if they can get back on board. But nothing's impossible. Like, that's just
You only got to look at Logan Carr now to say that getting sponsors is nothing's impossible.
yeah. Well, I think on the night as well, we got a lot of business mentors that have a lot of good strategies and expertise, a lot of experience. So, like during the evening, there's there's everything. Like it's pretty good. So yeah, like I said, over the next week or so, we're locking everything in now, and should be a pretty good night. Worst case is food and drink. So
you'll be fed and you'll be watered. You'll be good. Yeah. Everything else is bonus.
Yeah. So just piecing the puzzle at the minute, and I haven't jumped the gun. I'm not just letting it rip and changing everything every 5 minutes. Everything's proper locked in, and very excited to announce it over the coming days and weeks.
Nice.
But that's I think that's about it. That's a summary, but I'm definitely open. Like people have more questions or want more answers. Like my Instagram is there for sure. So it's super easy to just get in touch.
Well, I think we just obviously directed at Ryan Kohlenberg's social sites, but I think just main thing would be head to that R1, ARWON, motorsport.com.au and submit that inquiry thing there so that, you can keep it all there and your team can get back to everybody and, get that information spread around.
Yeah, and on the website, our team is listed, and just for reference sake, you can Google every one of them. They're proper and paying it's good service, so it should hold up. And just for reference, so Arwan is now spelt backwards, but Arwan was a famous racehorse. It won the Melbourne Cup in I think the late 80s or something. So it was there's a bit of history, and that's where my father's company's been based in Nowra for the last 20 years. So got 2 decades of business here, and it was all pretty fitting, and was able to secure the name and everything. So
I'm glad you explained that, because I wondered where the hell that name came from, but it does make complete sense now, right?
Yeah, they just took my next question from me. So that's fine. That works out well.
Yeah. So it's now spelled backwards, but there's actually a lot of businesses in the Shellhaven called Arwan. It's pretty common in Nowra, or I live in Kiama, but all the business is down there. So
yeah, nice.
That's where it comes from. But yeah, it's cool.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, unless there's anything else, we might let you go and get back to work on the next part of your planning for it. But super excited to see it, and then hopefully it gets well supported. So good luck with it all, man. It's a big undertaking, but we're impressed by what you're doing.
Yeah, I appreciate your time, and I appreciate everybody else that has been involved with feedback and their submissions, and understanding that we're just trying our best with it. And then obviously we'd love to fill the room and just make a night of it. And this is a long-term thing. It's not something that we want to be one and done. Originally, it probably was, but I got the ball rolling and it just turned out bigger than we thought of. And we didn't have a good reason to limit it. It was sort of like, okay, why not? And that, yeah, like, I don't know, if you're gonna do something, you gotta do it 100%. You don't want to do about 70% and like be successful and be like, oh, shoulda, woulda, coulda done better, but it didn't. And you don't want to fail at 70% and be like, oh, I could have tried a bit harder. So yeah, it's much like the sport itself. You got to give it your all, or nothing. So we just give it everything.
No, nice. All right, man. Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us. Suited up for Supercross. r1motorsport.com.au.
Yeah, thanks.
We'll chat to you soon, man, and hopefully it's in a tux or something next time. Maybe not in space.
Yeah, you might catch me like I don't know, living in city life or somewhere. Somewhere different, you know?
Jeez.
Did you actually get to Appin in the end?
Yeah. I came up to Appin and had a little wander around. I think I got there about midday. It was good. It was nice to catch up with everyone, and just sort of suss out where everyone was at. Was able to chat to Tyson from Empire and Jed. So yeah, like JPM Motorsports is locked in for the evening, and we're just working on a few riders now to get them locked in. And same deal, like we want riders to reach out and show interest as well. So I'm happy to chase people up, but it'd be nice if everybody could take initiative as well a little bit. So just working through a new crowd, uncharted waters, just trying to learn it on the fly. So yeah,
big city life now. Yeah.
Yeah, we're actually just traveling at light speed. It's not an app. This is real life.
Somebody showed him the button and now he can't stop pressing it, right, Penny?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, man. We're going to let you go. We're going to keep moving with the show. But yeah, everybody needs to check out Suited Up for Supercross
2026.
2026. Thanks, Ryan. We'll talk to you soon, man.
Have a good night.
You too, mate. See ya.
Bye.
Benny, pretty cool what he's doing there. Should be a big event and pretty impressive event if it all goes, to plan, and which I dare say it will from what he's trying to put together and the money that he's putting forward for it. Just needs some support from the industry and some other businesses that might not necessarily be in the industry but want to be a part of it because they're fans. So yeah.
Yeah, like I said, definitely a long way from Newcastle 23 with those flip sunnies that he had. And
remember that? What was the video we did? I can't even remember, but yeah.
Yeah, well, that was one of the first sort of things we did out of the back of, I think it was his BT50. So, come a long way, which is good to see. But yeah, I guess, you get to that point where it's risk versus reward, and the risk injury-wise is probably not worth it for him anymore, but the reward for probably pulling this off will be massive. So,
and hopefully not just for him. Hopefully, like obviously the event coming off well will look good on him. But hopefully for the industry and plenty of privateers as well, getting some support on the backside of it. So yeah, should be wicked, right?
Yeah, should be good.
All right, let's jump back into the Appin recap talk. We covered MX1. I'm going to touch on two things there before we finish off on that because we didn't quite get through all the notes. I want to bring up two things. One is Reese Budd is now permanent 450 guy. He mentioned it and he confirmed it in our post-race interview. I'm pretty happy with that, Benny. We've been talking about this for a while. He tried the dual class thing at Toowoomba. Probably lucky he didn't do dual classes at Appin with the conditions. That would have been a bit of a tricky one. But yeah, 450 man from here on out for the pro motocross side of stuff.
Yeah, I think it's a better change. Who knows? Doing both classes at Appin could have helped, but it would have been hell.
I reckon that would have hurt the body a fair bit, eh? And I don't know if he would have brought enough sets of gear for that,
Yeah. So, we've been talking about it for a bit. He's had a rough few years in the 250 outdoor wise. So yeah, I think the switch up is good, and the results haven't been too bad. So it'll be interesting to see how the next few go, and then yeah, the call that he makes on whether he stays 250 for Supercross or steps up.
Yeah, I'm interested on that one because we pressed on that one for that last question in the post race interviews that are on YouTube. You check that out, or on podcast. You can listen to it as well on your favorite podcast player. But yeah, I pressed him on that one. He's like, I don't have an answer for you for that one just yet. We're still working on it, so we'll see. We'll see. Brad West returned for Empire Kawasaki. He was joined by the fill-in rider of Ryan Alexanderson there, but Brad West still battling through some arm issues. The results and the riding has not been what I expected it to be when I saw that he was signing with the team, coming off the back of some, reasonable things that he's done in the States over the last few years. I thought there'd be more there, but just, obviously struggling with some issues with his own body.
Yeah, probably got to be honest, I didn't really notice him at all, if I got to
I
be
saw
honest.
him because I was looking for him and just not, like you said, you wouldn't notice him if you weren't looking specifically because he wasn't up there, unfortunately.
Yeah, there wasn't much. Wasn't much there, which is disappointing. Like you said, the few outdoors and stuff he's done overseas, and the time that he spent over there, you'd think he'd probably be a little bit better. But with with the arms, it's probably not ideal for him.
No, look, hopefully he can sort that out. He's had some surgery done. He probably maybe just rushed this one back, potentially because of the team situation that they were, maybe still setting up with Alexanderson there, and whether that was 100% going to start here or not, don't know. But yeah, look, he's got 4 more weeks now to try and work through all that before the next round. And then, look, I think the main part is if he can be 100% coming into Supercross, maybe he can redeem his whole year, So let's see how that goes for him. MX2, let's move on. MX2. I got to say, they might have had some of the worst conditions across the weekend because they were first out. They were then had a pretty bad rainy sort of first moto, and then I wouldn't say Moto 2 was great, but it was better, but it was still average conditions for them by the time they were out there. Cade Kingsford is the start man, it seems. Ryder was trying to get there with him as well. But there was a lot of red at the front of this field over the weekend, right?
Yeah, and I think it probably put on, MX3, MX2 is probably the best racing to watch.
Yeah,
at the moment.
I would say so.
Especially with those 3 Honda boys up front. So I'd be interested to see if I think Reeve said that Cade sort of lost the rear brake towards the end of that second moto. So whether Larwood actually does catch him or not without that happening, I would have liked to have seen, but Larwood was on a mission towards the end of that moto. So really good racing between those 3. Ryder probably, that tip over cost him in the end. But like you said, the conditions, like I said earlier, that first time they went out, all the goggles were just sitting on the ground at the end of that hairpin, and
they were tossed.
Just horrible.
Yeah, so obviously Larwood gets the overall result there, and that's based on the fact that he got that final moto win, but he was buried early in that Moto 2. He had a massive ride to come through. He had some good lines around the track that he was able to make some passes on. So pretty impressed with Alex Larwood there. Cade Kingsford did well. Noel Ferguson proved maybe that Queensland isn't the only place he can go fast because he got Moto 1 win and was looking dangerous in that Moto 2, but had a few moments. He bumped into Byron Dennis and then went down again himself later on. But Noel Ferguson was looking spicy as well, right?
Yeah, and I think the hit with Byron Dennis that slowed him up a bit. I think he lost a spot there and then fell over, and then I think Dennis went back past him and a few others. So that pretty much ruined the momentum he had. But that first moto to sort of come from behind a little bit and get the win. At the podium, I think he was pretty stoked with that.
Yeah, he should have been. He did well. And like I said, Ryder Kingsford coming through. got some better starts, had some better runs towards the front. But yeah, that second moto early tip over there as they just came back onto this under the finish line area there where the start joins in at Appin. Just bad timing for him. He just lost the front through the berm there, and that was pretty much his moto done there. Yeah, he built back up in the fourth overall in that moto, but yeah, he wasn't able to challenge any higher up conditions and whatnot. But maybe a surprise of that moto too, Benny. The privateer now privateer mounted Honda rider, Reed Taylor, having a fantastic showing in Moto 2 there, running third for most of that, second for a lot of it, and then third was the finish position for him.
Yeah, I think he even got a mention from Reeve
Yes.
in that post-race interview. So, yeah, funny enough, I'm pretty sure I was standing next to his mum earlier in the day talking to her. And she said Moto 1 wasn't really looking at how they wanted it to look. But, yeah, that second moto, he was on a mission and did well to finish where he did, holding that spot down. So hopefully he can go away with some momentum, and probably needs a little bit more time on the bike, I guess, because he switched from the Husky to the Honda. But definitely would be taking some momentum to the next round.
Yeah, we talked about it a couple of shows ago now with all these changes that have been going on in the Aussie scene in terms of teams and stuff, and not just this year, but over the previous sort of few seasons and months where they've been jumping around a bit. But good to see Reed getting back into that form that we know he's probably capable of, because he's had a rough run with some injuries and then some team issues that he had where he did a fill-in in WSX that sort of hurt him in a team deal that he had, and then he went to another team, and then seems like he didn't like that one so far, and he switched out, and now he's with the privateer Honda. Don't know where he's going to land, if anywhere different for Supercross side of things, but if he can pull some good results together here, with Reeve mentioning him, that's got to be a good sign that maybe Reeve can throw him some pieces of the puzzle, or parts here or there or something to help him out, if nothing more, but because he is pretty full there. But if he's mentioning you, that's a good start, right?
Yeah, and I mean, he was unlucky in Supercross last year. He got taken out and then landed on the wrist, I think it was, and broke
so he
that.
didn't get to do anything with that last year, right?
Yeah, didn't even really get to do anything. It wasn't his fault. So now hopefully he can just stay consistent and like I said, take momentum to the next round, and then hopefully get through ProMX, and then see what he can do for Supercross.
Now the KTM boys in MX2, Byron Dennis, Dylan Walsh. Byron had been on a bit of a podium run here, but rough day in the mud as such for him. But Dylan Walsh, being the Kiwi, the European riding and AMA riding guy, we've talked about him this season so far, and he's probably still, having to lower his expectations of what he thought he's going to be able to do this year, because he's having to go through a big learning curve with both team, bike, and tracks, because he hasn't ridden on pretty much any of them before. But he didn't have a good day. I would have thought maybe the mud might have spooked him up a bit in terms of him being maybe more familiar with those conditions or more skilled in those conditions. But if anything, Benny, it went the other way. I didn't really notice him at all, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was a bit the same. Is he Kiwi or is he South African?
I thought he was Kiwi.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But same sort of thing as Brad West. I didn't really notice him. I think I got a photo of him earlier in the day, but then again with the mud all over the front plates, it's a bit hard to tell who's who. But same thing. I didn't really notice too much of him.
No, which is unfortunate. Maybe it just, look, the conditions can throw everybody out at some point. Maybe they had some other things going on. I don't know all the details there, obviously. So, but just on the paper, the result, obviously, probably a lot lower than Dylan Walsh wants, capable of just, he's working through a tough season, not a rough season, a tough season. He's learning a lot about Australian racing at this point, and I'm sure he's going to be better for it, but I bet he expected more. But it is what it is so far in 2026 for him. MX3, Benny, I think this is my favorite class. I've said this a few times, but I called it last show before the round. I said that there was probably going to be a fifth different winner. I think there's going to be 6 different winners this season. I thought we were going to have, partway through that second moto, I thought we were going to have a different first-time winner than we ended up with, because I thought Riley Burgess was going to get there, but he slipped back late, and Jackson Fuller went up higher, and he got the overall. So he became the 5th one. So I think Riley is a potential for the 6th winner. There is even potential for a 7th winner in, I feel like there's something there. If Seth Morrow can get a hole shot, he's a chance. And then I still think he got 6th overall this round. Seth Thomas, and his start ability, he hasn't quite had the whole distance yet, but he's super young, but he's a chance at maybe one of these rounds too. So maybe there's even 8 different overall winners. I don't know, but maybe I'm getting overexcited because we've had 5 now, but damn, it's good racing, right?
Yeah, it is. And that first moto late charge from Riley to get second was, that was a really
Impressive.
good ride.
Yeah.
And he was pumped with that. I think that last lap there, or the second last lap was, a lot quicker than the other boys. But then, Moto 2 just didn't go his way. And I think he only missed out on the, 3rd on the podium by
There's one
2 or
spot,
3.
I think. So,
Yeah, 2 or 3 points or something. So, there's definitely, a chance that he can get it.
Yeah, I definitely think there is. He's just, obviously he's been struggling, I think, putting 2 solid motos together. He's been able to put one good one and one average-ish one and get podiums, but he hasn't had 2 great ones yet. And if he pull that off somewhere, I think he gets an overall. So it might not be the next round, but I dare say there's 6 different winners this year in this class at least. So we'll see how that goes out. But yeah, Jackson Fuller got his first overall. The KTM mounted rider was pretty happy with himself at the end. We were standing there with the post-race interviews going on. He was thanking somebody, his team, and he was saying happy birthday to one of them. He seemed like he was stoked, much like Hayden was when we were talking to him before in the interview. He was stoked with his moto finish for the last one. These kids are pretty happy when they're getting up there and getting recognised. Hopefully it's paying off for them in terms of future opportunities.
Yeah, I meant to actually say to Hayden, and I forgot, the 2 Blue Crew, I don't know if they were just fans or they were part of the team or whatever, going absolutely crazy on the fence.
Oh, yeah.
next to the left of us.
Where we were standing, they were loving it, right?
Those last few minutes, they were going crazy. So I forgot to say that to him. But, yeah, I don't know if they were team or they were just, fans. But, to be getting that reaction, out of them is, that's got to make you feel good. And then, get to the podium and there's everyone around. They got to enjoy it while they can. Because you never know. You might not get another one. You might get more. You just you enjoy it while you can.
Now, the one who probably didn't enjoy it completely on Sunday was the man who got run down and passed by Hayden Downie in that last moto there, Heath Fisher. He was on for probably the overall at one point, and then that move by Hayden just dropped him one position and gave that overall to Jackson Fuller there. But yeah, Heath Fisher had a solid day, just probably a little bit frustrated he couldn't quite close it out, right?
Yeah, and I think once, like Hayden said, once he got in front of him, he sort of used his lines a little bit to block him off, and then didn't get that step up the top of the hill. So when you miss that, as we saw all day, that was probably the best passing opportunity for a lot of people. If one person couldn't make it and the other person did, you'd make up time easy. So he pulled away just from that alone. But yeah, probably a bit disappointed.
Yeah. So it was Fuller, Fisher, Downie, Burgess. The series leader coming into it, we spoke to him on the day before the race on our pre-show, Hayden Draper, the Kiwi. I kind of thought with the conditions being wet, he might have had that, Kiwi thing go on where they seem to do well in the mud, aka Cody Cooper in 2008 AMA Unadilla. But Hayden didn't get the starts, and then I think that just didn't let him progress through. And he still holds the red plate, but he's going to have to do better than that if he wants to hang on to that red plate towards the tail end of this series, right?
Yeah, it's probably expected a little bit more, I guess, after the first few rounds, how he was riding. But he's sort of quietened down a little bit, and I think he's probably let these other boys get a little bit more momentum and a bit more hype about themselves, knowing that they can beat him. So yeah, it's probably a lot harder now. Like he's got to work a lot harder now to get back to where he was at the start of the season.
Yeah, and look, I think speaking to Hayden and Hayden's dad on the Friday as well, I think they're like, obviously Hayden's great, but I think there's a bit of extra effort that they're putting into this that others aren't, obviously, in terms of flying back and forth each round, not having raced pretty much any of these tracks before, having to ride a different bike than what they're riding at home, because there's going to be slight variances from what he's riding with the Josh Coppins racing team bike versus what he's riding with the WBR bike. So he's doing a fantastic job for the things that he's got to deal with, which others aren't having to deal with. So, but to get the championship done, he's going to have to smooth all of that out and just find that pace that he had at round 1 and 2 and bring it for, round 6, 7, 8. So I'm sure he's capable. He's just got to manage all of those extra things that others aren't managing through.
Yeah, that's right. But I think we need to talk about the person that we were talking about before we started recording. And I think we've jinxed him.
Yeah, we mentioned he got 10th overall in Appin. Not great result, generally speaking, but Jack Devison, we had him on the podcast after he got that overall win and the points lead at the opening round. And Jack, we jinxed you, mate. I don't know what's happened since then, but it hasn't gone well at any of the rounds since. Kind of didn't want to even text him afterwards to ask how he's doing, because I don't want to put us out there as the one that's causing the problems, but he's not doing well. Hopefully he can work it out, right?
Yeah, hopefully again, it's probably someone I didn't see a lot of. Looking for his name on the screen and that, like, I could see where he was, but on track I didn't really notice him. But yeah, hasn't really been where he was before we got him on the podcast.
No, which, just unfortunate. So hopefully he can turn it around too. Maybe he's looking for some of these other tracks. I'm sure the Traralgon one he's probably ridden at, being that he's down in Victoria for his training and stuff. So maybe a bit of familiarity with that track will help him regain some confidence, put in another good, strong result. Let's see what Devison can do in these next couple of rounds, but he needs to find that early season form again. All right, I think that covers Appin for us. So let's hit to a Dave's diatribe. Now let me make sure, see if I can hit the right button here, Benny, because I whiz bang fingers over here. We'll see if we get the right one.
This is Dave's diatribe. What's a diatribe? A diatribe is a forceful and bitter attack against someone or something. So keep your head down. You might be next.
You could be next, and we're bringing this Dave's diatribe to you by Barkbuster handguards, because you're going to need to deflect all this content with your handguards as much as you do with the roost and the trees when you got the Barkbuster handguards on. So thanks to Barkbuster handguards for being on board with this one. Now, Benny, I mentioned this one in our group chat. Now, anyone watching, listening, we bring it up every once in a while. If you want to be a part of the AlwaysMoto group chat, you just have to send us a DM on Instagram and we can drop you straight in there. There's plenty of cool stuff going on in there, plenty of random comments going on in there too, but there's some things that come out in there at times that you probably won't know elsewise unless you're in that chat. So jump in it with us. But I was watching, obviously we're there at track on Sunday, watching it trackside. You don't get the best commentary at Appin. They don't have the greatest of speaker systems around the entire venue. You sort of get out of reach of a certain speaker and you can't hear it until you walk another 100 meters so up the hill further away from it to get to the next one. So you didn't hear everything about what was going on. But I watched some of it back. I watched the stand side of things back. afterwards on Monday. Now, I do commentary for the state titles. Everyone's aware. I'm probably sure that I've said something completely dumb and stupid on there at some point. Everyone's human. I say dumb stuff on here all the time. Get things wrong. That's okay. But I was dumbfounded by this one from Lee Hogan and Denny Ham. With about 5 minutes to go in Moto 1 of the MX1, they're talking about the track conditions and saying how that the track early in the day was the best that had been all weekend so far. I'm like, it was pouring, it was raining, and it was sloppy, and nobody had goggles on, and the 65 kids couldn't get up the step up the back of the track because their wheels were clogged with mud. The track was not good in the morning. I'm like, what are you guys watching? And then to completely flip that, you go to when they're showing the MX2 or MX3 highlights of Moto 1 before they do their Moto 2, and they're saying how bad the conditions were in the morning. I'm like, well, which one is it, guys? Was it good or was it bad? Because you said this different options about the same thing. I don't know if they forgot, they get amnesia in between takes, but they were talking different stuff out both sides of their mouths across the coverage. I was confused as buggery and, as you can tell, slightly annoyed.
Maybe the track preview lap should be done the morning of the race instead of the day before.
Hey, look, I'm not gonna throw them into that, because if you throw them into that, they're throwing me into that for the New South Wales rounds, and I ain't wanting any part of that. I already had a plan that if there was a boggy, wet race for the New South Wales titles, I was just going to park the bike on a stand and just wander out with it in the background. So I still had the bike for the Yamaha support, to show that it was a part of the preview, but I wasn't riding it at that point. So yeah, I'm not throwing them in that.
The morning was not ideal. Like I said earlier, the 65s were caked up, could barely move. They parked against the trees, getting stuck, just horrible.
They
mess.
weren't racing at that point, right? They were just surviving. So I don't know how they came out with that comment, and anyone who comes out with a comment like that saying that that morning track was good needs to have their eyes checked at, wherever you get your eyes checked at these days. But yeah, but then to flip that comment and be like about the same period and say the opposite later in the show, just, confusing, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my diatribe. They need to be a bit more accurate, or at least consistent with your messaging when you're talking on commentary, and something I've got to take to my own heart with that one. So yeah, we need to present a picture that's consistent. Benny, have you got a diatribe this week? Have you got anything you want to get off your chest, mate?
No, I don't think I do.
Oh, jeez. Just loving life. Not even a stain on the hat,
Nah. Actually.
Oh, here we go. Come on. He's got one.
No.
Come on. Roll with it.
If you take your kids to the races, just make sure you know where they are.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Yeah, look. Bam. I needed the bark buster to deflect that one. At some point,
and it's not really a diatribe. It's just a laugh.
He's having a dig, people out there. He's having a dig. So I had the family at the track. We're wandering down. I think I mentioned earlier in the show that I had some water between the viewfinder on the camera. So I went into a Boyd's Moto truck. He was kind enough to let me out the toolbox. My daughter wanted to walk up the slippery ramp. I said, just stay outside. I'll be 2 minutes. Tried to do it. Couldn't do it. Couldn't clear it up. Came back out. Daughter's gone. Asked my son, where's she gone? She's gone to find mum. Well, mum's gone the other direction. She's gone completely other ways. So then we're all walking up and down looking for the daughter. She's 11. She's more than capable of walking around by herself, but she just didn't tell anybody what she was doing properly. You can't tell your younger brother accurately and rely on him to tell anyway. We found her about 20 minutes later, but no harm, no foul, but yeah.
And I will add in, she was right next to me at the same time and disappeared.
Yeah, so you're to blame too, mate. Don't you?
I'm just as responsible as Dave.
You're not the parent. You're not the parent in this scenario, so you get out scot free, right? But yeah,
it happens. It happens quick.
Oh man, so quick. But anyway, it was all good, and then we let them roam free and wild with some of their friends later in the day. But they were consistently then telling us where they were going
Yeah.
and where we would find them afterwards was the meeting point too. So anyway, all worked out. All
What
right.
did you what did we end up getting for dinner, and how long was it till we got dinner?
Well, we did a two-step up. The kids got Macca's, and we had to wake them up at what was it, Lamia there, which is about 20 minutes from the track, Campbelltown area, and then we drove on a bit further and got. I don't know if you've heard of it before, but there was a place we discovered on the way down, Benny, in. I can't even think what it is there, but Cow Pasture Road exit off the M7. It's Cali Burgers, pretty nice burgers. So we got some of them on the way home for the adults because we there's only so many times you can have McDonald's in your life, and I think I've hit that cap a long time ago.
Yeah.
And the kids just drive you nuts with it. So
Yeah.
anyway,
I haven't heard of it, so that might be a must try.
well, you
Next
enjoyed
time.
Chico's, yeah?
Yes, I did enjoy. I enjoyed my Chicos. Don't you worry about that.
Yeah. It's the one thing about not having a Supercross in Wollongong is there's no Chico's for me on the menu. So anyway, we'll have to get to that one at some point when we go in that direction for something else. So gotta love the Chico's.
And the
Well-
worst part is now it's at Fairy Matter. At Fig Tree. It's not
Fig
even
Tree.
in Wollongong.
Yeah, you
it's not
gotta
even
make
in
it
Wollongong.
10-minute
So it's a bit
detour.
of a drive now.
Yeah. Anyway, it's all part of it. All right, let's do a product inspection highlight. We're gonna highlight our friends at Duramoose this week's. Now I'm bringing it up because I heard something on the AMA coverage that interested me. Obviously, you run mooses so you don't get flats in races, and you get a consistent feel out of them. Yes, you can change tire pressures and whatnot with a tube, but it's much safer to run a moose setup. Now, obviously, there's plenty of brands out there. We prefer Duramoose because they are Australian product in terms of the company designing them and stuff. They get them made elsewhere, but they are generally here Australian, all organized, which is nice. But I heard on the coverage in the AMA, and I've checked this out before when I've been over there too, most guys in the AMA series will run a rear moose just as a prevention for flats because they're not worried about the feel so much of the back of the tire. But obviously these days mooses have more adaptability to feel. You can get different pressured feeling ones, hard ones, soft ones, medium ones, dual compound ones. So there's plenty more options to get around that. I run front and rear just because it's safer, but also too, I've been used to it for so many years now that I don't need to worry about it. But the Coonans, Benny, the Coonans run front and rear mooses. It's pretty unusual.
That's interesting.
It is interesting. And I thought, I know why they're doing it. It's because they don't want a flat. And so it made me think that the Duramoose is the option here and we needed to spruik it again. So yeah, if it's good enough for the Coonans to run front and rear mooses, it's good enough for pretty much everybody. So check out Duramoose. We do have a code, a discount code, AlwaysMoto10. We'll get you 10% off. And then you'll get Pete ringing you to help you set up with your tire brand that you run, tire size that you run, and the terrain that you run as to which is the best moose option for you. So he will then give you a call and work that out with you, but you'll get a 10% discount if you use AlwaysMoto10 at checkout. So check it out, Duramoose. Search duramoose.com.au, I think it is, and you'll get straight to them. Their Outdoor Primal is the business there, but yeah, Duramoose is the product. Check it out. All right, Benny, we're wrapping this thing up nearly. It's upcoming events. Now, upcoming events is brought to you by Funnelweb Filters because you'll need a clean filter to do these events, but there's not much on the calendar this weekend. It's pretty much it's almost an off weekend by the look of things for most places. Let me check that I've got my dates right here. What's the date this weekend? It is going to be the 20th, isn't it?
Yes.
So it is going to be High Point National this weekend. Round 4 is going to just continue to roll on. AMA Pro Nationals, High Point, June 20. And the MXGP is back on. It's round 11 in the 21st in Italy. So that's pretty cool. But from like Pro MX, it's off because we've got a 4-week gap. Next round isn't until Traralgon until July 12th. So 4-week gap, mate. It's big gap. But then we're going to have a quick run of them here because we'll finish in a flurry for ProMX in Australia.
Yeah, I think it's a bit too much of a gap. But for people that have got probably a few niggly little injuries and stuff like that, the month's probably going to help them out a bit. So for me, it's not so great, but for them, it would be.
Yeah, I think it's difficult. I've come around to the idea that our motocross series needs some gaps in it. Some of them are a bit big. Some of them are too small in terms of all of a sudden they're running them straight back to back, but the others are far apart. I still think we need maybe 1 or 2 more rounds in it. But where do you go for those sorts of things? Hearing a lot of talk about, obviously they brought up the fact that MA has asked for expressions of interest for hosting these sorts of things in the next year. People are talking about Bega Track, obviously after the state titles being there, everyone loved it. People are talking about Goulburn, so maybe we could end up with a few more in New South Wales as well. That'd be cool, despite the fact that Bega is still it's in New South Wales, but it's a long way away from anything. But yeah, so there's those things that are popping up as well. Other events that are coming up, but Australian Enduro Championship at Casterton this weekend in Victoria. State titles for Queensland motocross at Toowoomba this weekend. The following weekend, it's our 5th and final round of the New South Wales motocross state title. So I'll be back on the commentary team there doing our live stream, which will be awesome. It'll be from Cessnock. So you have to check out. Hopefully the weather's good and I can do a track preview and I don't have to do what I just said about hiding the bike in the background and walking the track. Yeah, so bit going on there in the next few weeks. One thing that we haven't mentioned, but we should get to, some of the Supercross announcements that have come through this last little while. We obviously heard rumours about it. We talked about it being possibly Newcastle for the final round of the 5-round series for Supercross. It was announced today. That's awesome. It's Newcastle. It's back to McDonald Jones Stadium. I'm stoked because it's just down the road there for me, so I can sleep in my own bed and not have to spend anything on travel, which is awesome for at least one round. But I do think it's a great move to have it back there because every time we went to somewhere else, whether we were at Cronulla, whether we were at Wollongong, whenever I was talking to somebody and, you say, oh, so where are you from? They always said the Hunter. So we all traveled to those other events, but I think you'd get even more people if you had it in the Hunter. So I have a feeling that this round at McDonald Jones on the November 28th, it might be a sellout, Benny.
It's quite possible. And hopefully the title goes to the end.
Be helpful for that side of things, right? With ticket sales, if it does.
Yeah, it did last year. Went to Adelaide. So hopefully, hopefully it does. And we sort of have thrown out a little rumor from our Scoops bloke in the chat that there could be a rider coming over that would make things interesting. I haven't told you yet, but that rider name has actually changed.
Oh, well, hold on. Do we have to, fill some people in here? What are we talking about? Because even if I don't even know, I haven't mentioned this here, what's going on? You got to fill me in.
So there was a rider who was on green that is now rumored to go red. And there's a possibility that they may be coming over, which is what I've been told. So if some people that have been listening to other podcasts can put 2 and 2 together, there's a possibility that this, if you can work it out, this rider may be coming over for Supercross now instead of the other one. So
confused. Anyone's going to have to read the braille that they just put out in the middle there with their fingers, But yeah, cool. Yep, moving on. But look, if they have any internationals coming for the series, it'd be great. Obviously, they announced Cole Davies for the Auckland round, which I think is a perfect setup. I've got an idea that I should sell to AME for it. And I had this idea a while back. I just haven't had the chance to get a video of it because I haven't been trackside at AMA Supercross this year. But I want a section of whoops that Cole Davies is hitting, and you can just, slow-mo him going do across. And I want Scribe, not many if any, playing over the top of it. And then Cole just to bust into the stadium and just hit the whoops as his intro to the stadium. And just not many. if any, not many. And he's just across the whoops. I think AME should run with that, right? That's my push. If I don't hear Scribe playing when Cole Davies enters Auckland Stadium, there's going to be hell to pay.
I'll let you go with that one.
I'm going to put it out there. AME, you've heard it here first.
see how you go with that one.
Hey, if that happens and I don't get a royalty check, I'll be knocking on a door. Oh, it's all in jokes at this point. But yeah, if they play that as he's rolling in, sweet. But yeah, so Cole Davies, that'll be awesome to have him in Auckland. There'll be obviously more announcements about other riders coming along. There are rumours about the Victorian round potentially being different from what it's been in the last few years. So that will be interesting. That will probably be out maybe in the following week because they're basically having, I think it's from the 28th of June, if I remember from all these things, is when pre-sales for some of these places start. So yeah, we're hearing that last venue being announced here shortly. So Townsville, Auckland, what am I missing, Benny? Oh, WA and Newcastle have been announced. We're just waiting on the confirmation of that 5th round in Victoria. So
yeah, which will be interesting. There's 3 different options. I think Marvel's probably going to be a bit hard to have with no Lawrence brothers and a big name. So it'll be interesting to see, whether they stay there. They could go to Amy Park, bit smaller, something different. But we just have to, just wait and see.
You think after all these years at Marvel, like, one, it's great, but if you don't fill that venue, one, it looks bad. 2, it'd cost a bit because there's got to be so many more expenses to go there. The trucking fees to come into the city from the dirt and in and out, the propping up of the floor because of the car park underneath it. It's got to be an expensive thing if you're not going to fill it. So let's see where they end up putting it. But it's not going to be there from what I'm hearing. So let's see what they end up announcing.
Yeah,
I may or may not know.
It's a hell of a stadium. It's a great place when Supercross is in there. It's brilliant. But yeah, I just find it hard without those 2 coming. That and if they were being the 3rd year, are you still, the first year was massive. The second year there was a little bit less. You're looking at the 3rd year. If they came, would it still be the same? It's I'm not sure.
They need a break and they need something else to sort of spur it on as to why they should come back to it. Like, people should come back to it. So yeah, give it a rest for a year or 2 and see what they can bring around. If there's any remember when we're in the press conferences and the star guys and stuff were there and they're talking about the fact that, like, they could run a playoff round or something there for the AMA side of things because the floor plan was massive. I think that would be something that would sell that joint out and actually just completely disrupt the city, with Moto Fever if they ever did something like that. So not that that's even possible just yet or spoken about anywhere in the AMA, but if they ever start doing flyaways for those playoffs, Marvel should be on their hit list, and it could be super cool if they did it. So
yeah.
Anyway, all right. Anything else with the Supercross side of things that I missed there, Benny? I think I covered most of it. The main part being the Newcastle round announcement, and Cole Davies, but for Auckland. But yeah, I think we've got it covered, right?
Yeah, I think that's it. I think it's good to go back to Newcastle. 23 was good. Always, it was packed then, and like you said, people always travel but say where they're from. And for me, to be honest, wherever there's free accommodation, I'll take it. So I'm putting you or my brother on notice.
Yeah. Hey, look, we might have a crowd here because the other sometimes co-host has already been offered a room as well. So yeah, we're going to have a battle royale for the remaining space here at the Hogan compound. So Anyone else out there looking for a spot, let me know early because we're going to run out of room.
Yeah, I think that's I think that covers it.
No, awesome. All right. I think that covers us for the show too. We've been going for the 2-hour mark. It's been a big one. Thank you to Hayden Downie for coming on. He was awesome to interview. Thank you to Ryan Kohlenberg for coming on. Looking forward to that Suit Up for Supercross event that he's putting together. It's going to be amazing. But that's it for this show, episode 191. Thank you for you out there, for all you guys and girls out there for listening and watching. If you're not watching, come and find us on the YouTube and subscribe. If you're not listening, find us on your favorite podcast player. You can listen it back and, play it in the car while you're driving as well if you miss some sections of it. Don't forget to order a t-shirt to support the show. These ones here, the AlwaysMoto ones, $25 plus postage and handling, info@alwaysmoto.com. Make sure you're on our social feeds. Check out the written content we do over on fullnoise.com.au. I think I've got it all, Benny. That's it for another show. Technic Motorsport, Duramoose, Yamaha Motor Australia, Barkbuster Handguards, Funnel Web Filters, Pivot Pegs, Tech 167 3D Printing. Thank you all of you for the show support. Thanks to the wife and kids for the support this weekend and getting lost and everything. I'm glad you laughed. Thank you. But that's it for another show. We'll be back. I don't think we'll be back next Tuesday because I'm going to be at of all things, probably a meeting for Posty Bike GP that'll be at Cessnock later in the year. But we do have some Stark future content coming here shortly. We are trying to line up an interview with a couple people from Stark over the next few weeks. So we're going to have some of those showing up soon. When, I don't know exactly, but probably in 2 weeks' time, we'll see you again. So until then, we'll see you at the track.